watching 8 News Now at 6.
Pimps, prostitutes, and police officers are all jumbled together in a 4-year FBI investigation into alleged corruption.
The 8 News Now I-team first broke the story back in 2016, and the existence of the investigation has since been confirmed by Metro Police and others, but the case has been quiet since February. So where does it stand? George Knapp is in studio live right now with an update.
Well, as you both know, the FBI does not comment about ongoing cases, but there is a parallel investigation being conducted in a public forum. The motions filed by 2 men who allege they were set up by police. Next month, several key witnesses will be questioned in an open hearing about some of the same allegations being pursued by federal agents, namely that vice cops and others were in bed with sex traffickers, literally and figuratively. The person assigned to represent the public in that upcoming hearing does not support the scenario we've just described.
The camera, I believe, is running now, and I think that's incredibly inappropriate. I'd ask that that be shut down, Judge.
That's defense attorney turned special prosecutor Adam Gill asking District Judge Michael Villani to boot the I-team out of his courtroom last November. And this is Gill in his most recent appearance in the same case, telling the court what he thinks about one of our stories.
Judge, it seemed like some pretty poor reporting.
Gill finds himself in the odd position of trying to prevent a convicted pimp, Ocean Fleming, from getting a new trial. Odd because Gill usually is in the opposite role, trying to keep defendants who work in the sex trade out of prison. A review of Gill's criminal caseload since 2014 shows he is more than familiar with the murky world of pimps and prostitutes. As a defense attorney, his clients include the expected assortment of drug charges and property crimes, but a large percentage of his practice involves the sex trade. Dozens of clients charged with sexual solicitation, dozens more who've been trespassed, a tool used by hotels to banish hookers, and several bigger fish, alleged sex traffickers and panderers. When we asked Gill to comment about why he was selected to stand in for the DA as special prosecutor in 2 pimp cases, he declined to speak to us. The reason a special prosecutor had to be appointed to oppose Ocean Fleming's attempt to get a new trial is because the DA's office had to recuse itself. Pressured to do so not only by Fleming's attorneys, but also by lawyers for Raymond Sharp, another pimp serving a life sentence. Sharp and Fleming have separately filed appeals alleging that the police and prosecutors who put them away conspired together, coached witnesses, and inflated the charges. Motions filed in the 2 appeals allege that several Metro officers, led by former star vice cop Chris Boffman, were secretly in the employ of escort service kingpin Jamal Rashid, better known by his hip-hop name, Molly Mall. Boffman and other Metro vice cops allegedly used their guns and badges to eliminate Molly Mall's competitors, and in exchange, they were allegedly paid in cash by Rashid and by sexual favors from the women who worked as prostitutes.
When we have the witnesses on the stand and we hear what they say, that's when we'll know what the story is, and we'll have arguments about that and whether or not they're telling the truth now or then. But that's what needs to happen, Judge, not run around the countryside trying to track down people who may or may not have a very speculative part in this, dreamed up conspiracy.
Gill and a private law firm hired by Metro have fought tooth and nail to block Fleming's lawyer, Janice Marshall, from deposing several witnesses, including Molly Mall, because, among other things, they say the conspiracy is made up. The DA's office also made that claim in court right before it had to withdraw from both cases. But it's a conspiracy the FBI is taken seriously. Since the FBI's public corruption team initiated a raid on Molly Mall's home 4 years ago, the I-team has learned of at least a dozen witnesses who have been interviewed by federal agents. The investigation is real and ongoing and appears to be pursuing the same allegations raised by Fleming and Sharp. Both of those men were visited in prison by FBI agents. In May, Special Prosecutor Adam Gill will be back in court to oppose a new trial for Ocean Fleming during a scheduled 3-day evidentiary hearing.
And then if Mr. Fleming's entitled to a new trial, he's going to get one. And if he's not, he's not.
We don't know when or if federal prosecutors might announce charges resulting from the FBI investigation, but if indictments are handed down, they could add an entirely new element to the appeals process for Ocean Fleming, Raymond Sharp, and perhaps others who were sent to prison by the same cast of characters. Back to you.
All right, thanks a lot.